An album a day is my exploration into the Korean music scene. This podcast will cover mainstream, indie, and some underground artists within the scene and provide both factual and opinionated commentary. The biggest benefit to sharing my thoughts this way is that it will hopefully expose you to more great music and exploration of your own. Coming fresh off the energy of winning their survival show, the group returns March 18th, 2008 with yet another studio album, another LP. And does it really stand up to the same energy as the debut album? We'll talk about it right after the drop.
You're tuned into an album a day. Show start.
Hey y'all. We're already moving into a habit that we're pretty familiar with when it comes to how Big Hit does releases. They give you something and they only make you wait a few months. A few other labels could really learn from that. So they had their debut studio album, their LP, the first, released September 3rd, 2007. And they came back with their sophomore album, March 18th, 2008. Entitled Infinity, which works because we found out yesterday by way of reading everything that the 8 in front of their name 8 is supposed to be the infinity sign and blah, 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 blah. Look, the album is long. And I'm not saying it's long as in it just drones on and whatnot. I'm just very blown away by these groups doing their first few albums straight out the gate with 10 tracks or more, when more recently you'll come across a lot of groups that they'll do mini albums instead. They'll really take that whole EP experience and shorten it to as much as possible, mess around and give you 2 tracks with 2 instrumentals and be able to legitimately call it an EP. So it's a long one, which is a good thing. The songs average around the 3-minute and 40-second mark. You got a couple that are just a little bit longer than that. But let me give you the English title to the songs on here. We have Let Me Go, I Love You, which also features former Girls' Generation member Jessica Jung. Something, but that ain't it. They actually did that a little right. Something. One Love, Ask, In the Morning, She Be Here, Me, Juhi, One Step, and Hanging on Your Collar. The standout song from this, there's definitely Let Me Go as the lead track, but I feel like the singing is off, and I don't know if that's because, and I'm not saying that by pitch, I'm saying it by tempo, and I don't know if it's because the first time I listened to it, I was watching the video, but it seems as if they're not quite on the track. I don't know. It's a little peculiar to me. And then you get down to One Love. I Love You is good, but it's ultimately Jessica is assisting Juhi with backing vocals. And you get down to One Love, and it really gets stuck in your head because of the chorus. One love, one love, one love, one love. That's easy. So it's going to be stuck in my head for a while, and possibly yours now too. One Love had some pretty decent rapping on it. I was pleased with the delivery of that. I truly was. What I wasn't necessarily against, but I didn't feel like it was necessary, and this is just a reflection of the time that this was produced. There was auto-tune on Juhi's vocals and whatnot. Not the entire song, just only in some certain parts, which I have a love-hate relationship with auto-tune. Darn near every single singer needs it in this day and age. It's necessary for quite a few. You might have vocals, but you might not necessarily have the strength to really maintain what you're trying to sing. Auto-tune does not, for us Western listeners, have to be a reflection of what T-Pain created, where he created a whole movement by using auto-tune for everything, and he, in fact, can sing. Well, Juhi, she's a capable singer, so they use the auto-tune just to be able to be on trend. Again, it wasn't necessary, and I know some people couldn't care less. I just think that when you do use auto-tune, it should be for the purpose of scrubbing any inconsistencies with vocal delivery as the person is strengthening their vocal delivery. It doesn't have to be as exaggerated as we can hear it in some songs. So that's just my opinion, of course. just as much as everything else about this show is. But I just want to clarify that, like, I'm not naive to the fact that people have to use it quite often, but it isn't always pushed all the way to the top of the needle. So I do like the fact that she is able to sing on the track and not have her entire vocal contributions diminished by that or amplified even by that. They just did what was on trend at the time. And side note, this has nothing to do with the music, but I came across, while I was looking for the song Me Juhi, I came across a dance practice video of hers while she was dancing to Missy Elliott's and Sierra's Music Make You Lose Control. It's really Lose Control. That's the official name of it. She's dancing her behind off. Like, she was dancing in heels, and she had her backup dancers with her and whatnot. But it's evident that this woman is a dancer. Like, she was delivering. She wasn't missing a beat. Nothing looked uncomfortable and ridiculous. Sometimes you can see people who are still developing in their dance skills, and they doing the best they can, which is all that we can do. But this woman could dance her behind off, for real. She was jamming. I want you to try to find it if you can. You can look for 8Eight Juhi dance practice. Maybe that's how you'll be able to find it. It's worth looking at. Definitely so. The music production was a little interesting on this. It was within the same caliber of their debut album. Let's establish that first. It was in the same caliber as that. It has the appropriate sounds for 2008. But I think there was just some refinement that could have happened for the use of digital drums and things of that sort. A lot of the drum patterns are from other Western pop songs I'd heard before. And that's just a reflection of the hardware being, well, not the hardware, but the DAWs. We've talked about that before. If you don't know what I'm talking about, go ahead and Google DAW music, and it'll give you a little bit of feedback on that. But I think that's just a reflection of the capacity of the systems available at that time to produce music and to mass produce pop music. A lot of us do overlay quite often on drum patterns or synthesizers and things of that sort. It's a little unavoidable in some instances. This is not copying the music. This is genuinely appealing to some of the same sounds, and they're made as stock loops, and you just get a hold of it. There's a couple of songs in the past 5 years that I know for certain I've heard on other artists' albums and whatnot, and I know it's the same drum patterns that I've used for my own music. Or it might be the same loop of a particular sound that I've heard on a major album, and in turn it's on mine. No, it's not any biting of what you're hearing. It's just the fact that we're using similar production software, similar production systems, and some things weren't as widespread as they are now. Not saying that 2008 is archaic, but there have been a lot of advancements and contributions to the different ways that you can make music since then. And it's always going to evolve completely and utterly. Let's go ahead and get into the ranking for this album. Yes? So K-pop fans, on a scale of 1 to 5, with 5 being essential listening and 1 not worth mentioning, the A3-day ranking for this album, the A3-day ranking for this album, it's a 5. It's a 5. I'm not as excited about it as I was yesterday's album, though. I will admit that. It is still a 5. I still feel like this is pretty essential for you to just see some of the influence that trickled down to the other groups that are at Big Hit. This is fairly parallel. Not even parallel. This is a part of a developing blueprint. Especially when you listen to the rap on One Love, it definitely sounds like some familiar deliveries from more recent big hit artists. So I'll give it a 5. There's some things that could be cleaned up, but that will ultimately put it like 0.05 points underneath being a 5, and I think that's ridiculous, so I'm gonna just go ahead and give it to him. Maybe you have a different opinion. Maybe you feel like struggling, scrubbing the internet, trying to find audio of this group. I don't know. Maybe you hip to the game. Not my life. But if you do, you let me know what you think about it. And I'll catch you all in the next episode. Bye, y'all.
Your favorite foreign Korean music historian exploring all the industry from A to Z.
There's sponsored ads and social media hashtags, but this show is truly supported by the efforts of my McGualas, the most amazing fan base a little entertainer could ever have. Special shout out to my Patreon patrons, the student body, and the scholars who keep my vision of becoming your favorite Korean music historian exploring all the industry from A to Z a real thing. If you're interested in supporting the growth of this podcast and supporting content, please visit patreon.com/multifacetedacg. And for as little as $1 a month, you can get in on the magic too. Interested in continuing your support at the free $99 price? I love you for it. You can still engage with the show when you retweet, repost, and share the show and use hashtag A3 and the word DAY. You can also tag MULTIFACETEDACG to get my attention. And if you're listening to this podcast on a platform other than Anchor.fm, please leave a few stars or a review to keep things growing in the right direction.